Imagine holding a baby in your arms. Soft skin, bright eyes, peaceful breathing as it sleeps. But this baby isn't alive. It's made of silicone, handcrafted, painted with lifelike details, and sold for over $1,000. Welcome to the world of reborn dolls. People of all ages, often adults, buy them, care for them, and form emotional bonds with these babies that don't grow, cry, or breathe. And as strange as it may sound at first, this reveals something much deeper. We're trying to fill emotional voids with things that were never alive. According to Statista, the global market for hyper-realistic dolls surpassed $2 billion in 2023. And it's still growing. But the real question is, why are we so drawn to this? It's not just about aesthetics. We're not buying a doll. We're buying the illusion of connection without risk. Complete control over something that simulates life, but never pushes back. An emotional bond where the other side never challenges us, never disappoints, never leaves. The reborn doll doesn't need you, but somehow you feel like you need it. Maybe the most honest question isn't about the doll at all. Maybe it's about the person holding it and what they're missing inside. We live in a time where reality feels too heavy, so instead we simulate. Instead of dealing with people, emotions, and connection, we create replicas, images that move, dolls that breathe, voices that imitate affection. The philosopher Jean Baudrillard said, "We've entered the age of simulation, where copies are more important than reality itself. We're trying to give a soul to what doesn't breathe, because we've forgotten how to connect with those who still do. While we simulate love with dolls, we build robots that say, 'I love you,' with a programmed voice. Emotion has become a product, affection just a button. In ancient Japanese culture, the invisible always mattered more than the visible. Spirit meant more than form. Silence held more truth than 1,000 words. But today, form has replaced soul. Noise has replaced silence. We're losing our humanity, right when we claim to be reproducing it. Reborn dolls aren't just toys. They're mirrors. They reflect a deep emotional need that many of us can no longer face directly. It's easier to care for something that will never grow, that never cries in the middle of the night, that won't ever reject you. It's the comfort of affection, without risk, no contradictions, no pain. According to John Bowlby's attachment theory, humans form emotional bonds based on safety and trust. But when that trust is broken through trauma, abandonment, or neglect, the mind often seeks substitutes, things that mimic affection without the threat of being hurt again. That's what the reborn doll represents, a form of connection without the possibility of disappointment. But what happens when our emotional lives are centered around something that isn't even alive? The pain of a real connection can hurt, but it also teaches. It transforms us. It shapes who we are. The silicone baby can't give you that. It offers control, but not growth, because it's in meeting the unpredictable, complex, imperfect other that our humanity becomes stronger. Without risk, there is no real bond. And without connection, there is no transformation. It's not just dolls anymore. Now we have robots that simulate emotions. Artificial intelligence that says, "Good morning," asks how you feel, and even remembers your name. They don't make mistakes. They don't get offended. They never walk away. MIT researcher Sherry Turkle calls it being alone together, surrounded by machines that imitate affection, but with no soul behind the voice. We call that connection. But is it really? The comfort of AI is that it never pushes back. It never argues. It always responds the way you want. But where there's no friction, there's no depth. And without depth, the bond is an illusion. We're projecting our humanity onto machines because we're afraid to project it onto real people. Afraid of being rejected, afraid of being vulnerable. But what makes us human is exactly that, the chance of getting hurt. The chaos, the failure, the unexpected, the touch that can heal is also the one that might hurt. But it's real. And that's why connection can't be replaced by simulation. Because in the end, AI might say, "I love you," but it will never truly know what that means. While today we try to give soul to machines, the samurai lived for something you could never touch: honor. Bushido, the way of the warrior, wasn't about brute strength. It was about living by a code. Even when no one was watching, they didn't need to appear strong. They were strong on the inside because they carried invisible values: loyalty, courage, discipline, respect. The samurai trained his body, yes, but he trained his spirit even more. He meditated in silence, accepted death, embraced impermanence. Today we run from silence. We want control over everything, even over affection. We try to give life to dolls and machines because we no longer know how to hold space for what's real. But the samurai didn't need perfection around him. He was the center, even in chaos. His strength came from the soul. Ours is stuck on the surface. We're chasing the perfect connection. We want others in our lives, but without conflict, without flaws, without pain. So we choose what doesn't feel, what doesn't react, what stays exactly how we want. But real relationships don't work that way. They take effort, patience, and yes, sometimes they hurt. In Japanese philosophy, there's a concept called wabi-sabi, the beauty of imperfection, incompleteness, and impermanence. To relate is to accept. To accept the other person as they are, broken, in progress, unfinished. What looks perfect is often empty. The more programmable emotion becomes, the less human it is. Dolls don't make mistakes. Robots don't hurt your feelings. But they also can't change you, because only through friction comes learning. Only through real connection comes true love. The pain of relationship is the price we pay for something that's actually worth feeling. There was a time when caring for someone was sacred, a ritual, a commitment. Today it's a product, something we schedule, simulate, or buy, but we no longer carry it. Honor no longer lives in our connections, it lives in convenience. We prefer relationships we can pause, that don't demand too much, that don't put our vulnerability at risk. But the samurai knew real honor means staying, even when it's hard, even when it hurts. Real relationships don't come with a remote. You can't mute them. You can't fast forward the pain. They challenge us. And that's what transforms us. When we replace people with objects, we silently admit we've given up on the risks that make us human, and little by little, we lose the courage to stay in something real, because truth requires responsibility, and responsibility takes strength. Honor in relationships doesn't mean looking perfect. It means continuing, even when we're not. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine holding someone real in your arms. Feel the warmth, the weight, the breath. What does that stir in you? Fear, memory, longing. We don't need to give soul to dolls. We need to remember our own, because the more realistic the simulation becomes, the emptier the world starts to feel. Maybe the future of humanity isn't in machines that imitate life, but in the courage to feel what is real again, and that no artificial intelligence can do for you.